What's up, guys? So I keep doing this when I'm really into the project and I'm trying to get something done. I totally forget to take out the camera. So I've had the car back for a few days, and basically, I don't know if I mentioned it in a video, but I had bought a new power steering rack to try to eliminate some of the play in the steering. Well, I get the old rack out and looked at it, and both the racks have the identical amount of play. It's not much. I ended up tracing it up to somewhere between the firewall and the steering wheel, and it's not like at the hub itself, so it's probably somewhere in the column. But I'm really annoyed that I missed that. I like found the play at the rack and thought that was the entire play, and that was actually a very small amount of it, and both racks have the same. So big bummer. I spent a ton of time on that yesterday. And the rest of the night I spent just wet sanding and buffing the car a bit more. It still needs a bit, but it's much glossier than it was. It's getting there. But I'm in love with this color. So today the goal was to pull all the wheels off and paint all the wheels the same color. So I have technically 8 wheels. I have 2 of these like no-name front wheels. I think they're like drags or something. And then I have 4 350Z wheels and 2 Infinity wheels for the back. So I have 6 rear tires and 2 front tires. They're all gonna get painted like a cast aluminum color. So I'm trying to pull all the wheels off the RX7 now. But the problem is, I went to put the jack under the car and the jack like exploded. The piston thing popped out, everything just like failed catastrophically, which sucks. But I'm gonna be going to Harbor Freight in the next couple days because I want to get their cheap pipe bender and make up some bash bars. So I'm gonna have to pick up another jack anyway. I've been wanting one of those like a lightweight jacks for a while now. I really rarely use how low this is. So I'm just gonna get a lightweight jack. But in the meantime, I gotta get the car up in the air and get it on jack stands to pull all the wheels off. So I've been using a stupid scissor jack, and it is hot as hell today. So I'm gonna keep going with that. And I'll probably pick this up when I get all the wheels set up, because you don't really need to see a time lapse of me jacking up the car with a scissor jack. I also forgot to mention that I took the car, drove it to work today, gave it a little bit of a shakedown. It's been a few months since I've driven it, so I wanted to kind of get it back on the road and kind of get a feel for it. And it's only making 8 pounds of boost. So I'm not sure what happened. I think it has something to do with when I switched the turbo, but I don't know, because when I drove it to my buddy's shop, it felt like when I dropped it off for paint, it felt really good. So if that was 8 pounds, it's pretty scary. I mean, I drove it around today and it still rips at only 8 pounds. It's supposed to be a 14, so I'm gonna play around with that. I'm probably gonna make up a little boost leak tester or something, but this video is probably gonna be a mashup of like these next 2 weeks, basically just getting this car ready, because I have essentially this week and then next week before the drift event I want to go to, and I'm gonna be away for work next week. So I really don't have much during the week, only the weekend to work on it, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I could drive it as is, honestly. The big thing is I just gotta get some tires mounted, but other than that, I could just, I'm gonna go regardless. If I don't get, the other 2 panels or the boost leak, I'm still gonna beat it. I need to go, I'm still gonna drift it. I need to get out there. It's been like 2 years since I've been at the track, and I'm sick and tired of using the car as an excuse, because it's like, I've wanted to drive this whole time. And, real talk real quick, it's been a thought of mine, like every week I feel like I've thought of this in the last 2 years, especially when I've had the Z. It's like, I could just put a little bit of money into the Z and then drift that while this is under, but it's like, I need to keep that as a daily for now. I need to have something reliable to get me to and from work, and granted, reliable means swapping an engine, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, we'll get there. So these are all my wheels. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of give them all a good clean as best I can, really. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape off these 4. All of these I don't care about, because all these tires are getting swapped with those 4s, Lionhearts. So these 2 are corded. One of those is completely destroyed. Probably this one. There's no sidewall on the other side. So all those are getting new tires. So I'm just gonna spray over them, don't care. These four are keeping these because there's a little bit of tread left on those. They're gonna be my first set I'm gonna drift off, and these are fronts. So you can tell I got a theme going with what kind of wheels I like. But yeah, so they're all gonna get the same color. They're gonna get this Duplo color metal cast. It's what I've been using for pretty much everything aluminum, and I tend to really like it. It goes on, it's kind of a flaky. So I'm not gonna need to coat these much because they're really clean. The blacks are gonna need the most. But yeah, if they get a good cleanup, I think we'll be okay. So I'm gonna clean them all. Like I said, I'm gonna tape off these guys, and then I'm gonna kind of set them up with something under them for each. I don't think I'll have anything big enough to put down for all of them. And I'll probably want to kind of have them in like a circular pattern so I can spray them a little easier. Sweet, so I'll probably set up a time lapse or something for that. So I got those four taped up, these four not taped up. I kind of threw a quick little dusting on those just to kind of get them at the same level, so because those are the only ones that weren't silver. So I think what I'm going to do is actually just kind of like lift them up one at a time and spray a coat and then roll them back down, just so they're not kind of dwelling. I can kind of rotate them around and get an even coat. Because I feel like when I try to go from above and get all the weird angles and stuff, I end up putting way too much on. So I'm just going to take it easy, one at a time, do a little dusting until they're done. I'm thinking these came out pretty good. I really like the finish that this metal cast leaves. It's like a, not like a just straight like a kind of aluminum color, but it's almost like a, I don't know. It's really nice. It's almost like a sandblasted kind of thing, but it's got a gloss to it. It's just such a nice metallic color. I'm really not a huge fan of these wheels just because they're so round. Like, they look like they're not the same color. It's just the hard edges really, really show this color off. And those are just like, meh. But they'll do. It's interesting. So these two, or is it those and those? Yeah. That and that are the exact same wheel spec. 18 by 8 plus 30. And then these are a little wider, but they have the same kind of, they're just wider inward. So they'll all fit. These are 17 by 9.5 or something, 17 by 9s. The other one, all those are 18s for the rear. So I might spray a couple more coats, but that should do it. I'll leave that to kind of sit. I don't want it, I want to put like a clear coat on it, but like I'm afraid it's going to make it look too glossy, and I really like the way they look. And plus this metal cast color is like a, it's like a tinted clear coat. Cool stuff. Off is my favorite part of painting anything. It is so nice. Oh, look at it. Ooh. Oh man, is that not pretty or what? Ooh. 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 I ended up sticking a couple coats of clear on them for anything just to protect them, but I mean, it got a good sheen going. They came out really good. I'm really happy with that. Really, really happy with that. So they're all painted. I also wanted to try something different, so I made a purple spoke. I'm gonna do that on all the wheels. This one, it should have waited though, because I kind of leaned into it a bit and I got it a little fucked up on one of the spokes. So I'm gonna let all the other ones cure first, but I kind of just did this one as a test run. It's a very similar color purple to like the roll cage. In camera it doesn't really look like it, but in person it really is. Either way, it'll be on the outside and but I just think it adds a little pop to the outside. And plus it's kind of like what a lot of cars need for FD now is like one spoke, so they can see when the wheels are stopped. And I just like think it's cool to trickle down some FD stuff to us grassroots folks. So I think it's kind of neat. So I just got some pipe. I got a pipe bender, and I'm gonna start kind of working out where I want the jack kind of point to be. This little Harbor Freight aluminum race jack. And with the bumper on, I pushed it in, and basically where it's hitting the bumper is like just past the intercooler. So I'm gonna see if I can make like a triangle tube bar that comes from here and kind of goes down just under the intercooler and like back up. So basically just a, you know, like a V shape. And then I'm gonna, if you're looking at from the side of the car, I'm just gonna tilt it forward a bit, and that should kind of put it right where I want, right under the intercooler. So that'll be step one. It'll kind of give me a way to test the bender. And then after that, I'm gonna make an actual like bash bar that goes from that plate to that plate out in front of the intercooler. I'll probably actually tie that in and get rid of that intercooler bracket, and just have a little points that come off the bash bar for that, or like a bar or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But so I got all that tubing, and then I got this section of 14 gauge exhaust pipe, which I'm going to do to make an adapter for that pipe die so that it fits the tube diameter, because the closest ID die is 1.66 inches. And obviously those are 1.5 inch, or not obviously, but those are 1.5 inch, and obviously those aren't the same. So the difference is 14 gauge for the radius. So I'm going to make like a little piece. I'm gonna bend it with that in the pipe, and we'll see what happens. I'm just probably gonna use like the end of one, just kind of like a test piece. And I'm gonna measure this out, cut it, and then kind of cut it in half. Let's see how that goes. Trying to make some bends. I tried to make that adapter thing, but what happened was it just decided to start kinking the little adapter. So this was the bend I got, it really kinked. And then I saw a thing online that said to use the size down, because then it'll kink the other way. And this one came out really good. It actually started to like kind of pinch it into the die, because it's a smaller die. And then only toward the end did it get like a little kind of weird thing to it, but like, that's a nice chunk of pipe. I'm happy with that. No, and this is the most extreme bend, is the one that's going to be used for like the jack point, and I'm happy with that. And then if I'm really kind of worried about it, all I can do is kind of weld like a gusset in here, you know, and then that'll be sick. I have no problem thinking this is going to hold up the car. I mean, this is 1/8 inch wall. Stuff's nuts. I was originally going to use like roll bar tubing, but then, you know, it was like, it's just going to be way too strong for a bash bar. You know, I mean, granted, for the jack point, you know, it might have been nice to have a little thicker, but, you know, like, for the rest of the bash bar, you really don't want roll bar tubing, especially if it's going to get hit. If I ever were to get in an accident, I want it to crumple. So as long as I make it kind of removable, we'll be good. So I'm going to cut this to length and see if I can get it to kind of fit where I want. But that'll be really cool, because, you know, I really like that kind of how that bend came out. For a, you know, I think with a coupon, this was like an $80 pipe bender. So hell yeah. Or like marked to length. And then I marked a notch by eye from above with this placed above that hammer. So when that's cut to notch, it's not going to be perpendicular to the ground. It's going to be tilted forward a hair. So I'm going to go ahead and try to cut that out. We'll see what happens. It's going to obviously need some grinding, and I'm going to work it into shape and get it to fit right. And then once it's fit, then I'll kind of like tap it up into place and make sure everything's good. And then when it's all good, I'll grind down the frame rails and pop this in and then weld it. But so far it looks good. There's going to be plenty of surface area to push from below. That'd be pretty sick. So there we go, all notched. Let's see if it fits. I might have to bend it a bit more to get it to kind of clear, or I might just kind of start shaving each side in. But I think I might be able to get it to kind of right into place. Also, my battery is really dying on my phone, so I might have to film a little less and kind of charge it a bit so I can show you the aftermath of this, but we'll see. Zone, just going ham, and let me get the light. I made the full thing and painted it. Got it in there. That side actually shifted back a bit. As you can see, there's like a bolt hole and it's kind of like behind it. On this side, it's like just in front of it. So it's a tad crooked. It shifted when I set it and then I didn't realize it. I had it like tack welded and one of the tacks broke and I didn't realize. But it sits just below the intercooler. I have to trim the bumper a bit in that middle section. But if you slide the jack under the bumper, you'll get right under it and it lifts the car perfectly. It's awesome. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of eyeballing how I want to run the bash bar. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to like try to draw it out a couple times and just kind of see what I like. But I think I'm going to do like a 2-foot straight section and then a kink down kind of parallel to that headlight. Like the headlight line. And then I'm going to have a kind of sharp curve at the end. Or I might just end it. I might just do 3 pieces. You know, because there really is no need to kind of, I don't know. I'll think about it, because that's a really sharp radius to have to do, and it clearly doesn't like the sharp radiuses. But honestly, like, it's a bash bar. I don't care if this part's kinked, because it's meant to take impact. It doesn't need to be structural. So I'm gonna figure out how I want to do this. Sweet. Slightly smaller die has done really well. This is the first 2 bends from the bash bar. They're almost exactly the same angle. I think I did a pretty good job with my little template I made. And it's level relative to the floor. And I just gotta figure out where I want to do the next bend. But if you do like slight bends, it does really well. I could not be happier with how this is coming out. And that only took me like 5 minutes. That, I swear, that pipe bender is like the best $80 I ever spent. It's incredible. So I'm just gonna try to take it slow and make sure I don't mess it up, because this is doing so well that I don't want to blow it. So I'm gonna kind of like line up that section with kind of where I want it in the car, and I'm gonna kind of work out that other little bit, and I'll measure it off the center of those angles. It's coming. So I want it to fit between, basically go to the bumper and then go behind like the above the blinker, under that little thing, and then kind of go around that little corner. So I think it seems to be a good spot for it. And then I'm going to get some bar stock that I have, and I'm going to go across from that bolt to that bolt and just kind of bolt it in that way. I was going to do like a big plate, but I'm not jacking it from there, so I don't think it should be a big problem, especially if it's just pulling. So I don't know, we'll see. I might weld in another piece to go down. We'll see. We will see. I can always put another plate on later. I just really like how I routed the intercooler in it. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So here it is after 2 more bends. Looks so good. So I think my next step will be to make another bend like just next to this one and really make this an extreme bend, because I've kind of found a limit where it'll just start to kink. So I kind of stop there. But man, does that look legit. That's so cool. I'm gonna see how well it almost fits, and then I can kind of mark out where I want to put the next bends. Sweet. Be happy with that as is. You can see I have it so it clears this light. There's movement. So as long as I get that lined up correctly, you'll be able to put the bumper on. It'll kind of line right up there. And then this, if I do another bend, it'll pull it away from here. So I think what I'm going to do is just chop this so that it won't hit the fender. I got to kind of make some measurements and see like how far this piece can actually go. I might just chop it right here. Cool. Because the bumper comes right up to here, but I don't want to hit like this thing. I really don't know what that does. It kind of holds the bumper, but I don't need this. I could just chop that off, I guess. Now I'll leave it. Because that flash bar should kind of end up right there. So cool. So cool. Oh boy. I'm on a roll today. Another thing I didn't show you is I ordered this Sunroof Seal from McMaster Car. It's basically the exact same dimensions as the stock one, except the bulb on it is a little bigger. I'll put the part number in the description if anyone wants to order this, but basically it's a super tight fit. You have to kind of like push the sunroof in and it folds the gasket up. But what it does is it doesn't leak. So the only place it leaks currently is the seam in the back. So if I can find a way to kind of mold that seam together, maybe with some silicone or something, just kind of bulb it up and let it cure. Right now with my little bracket that I made, you know, it takes a second to put in. It's not super quick right now, but it seals. Oh, I'm just killing it today. Killing it. So my phone died, but I made these little bolt plates here. That this one will go through that into the car, and then this one will just bolt straight through it. I might switch this up because I'm not sure how like pulling on that's gonna do with like that spacer. You know, it's gonna tug on. I mean, I don't know. I might end up putting like the bolt through this way and then nut here and then that thing with like a stud. I don't know. But it's gonna go through like that. I also really hacked up these standoff plates, but I just wanted to mock this up. That's why it's welded and rewelded so many times, so then I can get it and use it as kind of a reference. I have plenty of extra pipe before even cutting that other 8-foot section. But I'm gonna fit the bumper and see if it like fits close to where I want. It's a little crooked right now, but the width is like perfect. So I'm gonna put the bumper on real quick. Too far, it's too low, and it's a little crooked. But it's a good jumping off point. I'm gonna call it a night. I am covered in dust and grinder shit, and I'm tired. It's almost midnight, and I have work tomorrow. But I am so happy with how everything came out. I got the jack bar, whatever you want to call it. I made the jack point. That's sick. And then I'm starting work on this bash bar, which just looks epic. I can't believe that it worked with just a cheap pipe bender, you know, and some Summit Racing tubing. Like, this is just phenomenal. So I'm really happy with the way the bar came out. It might just be because I'm really tired, but I have to figure out how I'm gonna make those. You know, it's gonna be really tricky. What I might try and do is like kind of like line it up from like an angle and like trace the shape of the pipe and kind of just like actually wing it that way, because this way was just really shit. And then when I get that, the standoffs welded to there, then I can like keep cutting the legs until it fits. That's, I think, what I'm gonna do. Get the angle right and just kind of get them on the pipe. But I'll do that tomorrow or some other time. I'm not really sure. All right, I'll see you guys then. I'm back, guys, and I decided enough is enough, and I bought the Harbor Freight tube notcher. I already went ahead and notched the first one, and as you can see, it's so much better than my attempting to notch it with grinding. So I'm gonna notch both of them. I'm gonna clean all the tack welds off of each of them, and I'm gonna reset it, and I'm gonna put the bumper on this time when I tack it, and I'm gonna kind of wrap tape around the bar so it sits kind of where I want, and I'm gonna get it kind of mocked up, and then I'm gonna tack it and keep adjusting, and then I'm gonna take it off. And I have a plan today, and it's not midnight, and I'm gonna get some stuff done today. It is super hot, but I'm gonna try to take it easy and not overwork myself. Really, my goal for today is basically to get this bash bar on, paint it, figure out why my headlight's not working all of a sudden. I think probably a wire just came off or something, I don't know. I'll figure that out, and then I have a bunch of screws. I want to fix a bunch of stuff that is loose, which is all easy. And I might just clean out the inside of the car because it's all dusty, but we'll take it slow. I'm gonna take this car around this weekend and shake it down a bit more, but I really want to get this done. So let's get to it. I actually got the bash bar at such an angle that the bumper is resting on the bash bar on this surface under this right here, which is awesome because I used to have it on this hook here, and now there's just like a little more play. I might try to make some sort of mount for it kind of here somewhere, because now this kind of jiggles around. But as you can see, it's not like loose. Like you can pull it here for sure, but I have these here. But like the bumper itself isn't loose. It's pretty rigid, which is pretty cool. It's just kind of sitting on the bash bars. And then to take it off, it's just the 2 screws on either side, one on either side. You can see if I just pop this guy off, it's like basically the whole bumper just comes off, which is really nice. I mean, I really did like my little hook setup that I had, but the problem with that is because the bash bar has to go between the turn signals and the flash to pass holes, I didn't have enough room to move it up over the hooks. So what I might do is I might leave those little brackets, maybe like put a rib nut in here or something and just kind of attach it. But then it ends up being 4 bolts to take the bumper off, and I don't know. I might do that. I kind of like that idea now. We'll see. For now, it works. So now I'm going to finish tack welding the bumper up, make sure everything's level, and then I'm going to take it off and fully weld her up. But she is looking really nice, really even. It's just really nice. So I got it off the car now. I'm just gonna go in and weld everything nice. But I found an extra can of that Duplicolor purple, and I figured, why not just throw some color on it? Might look kind of cool, especially if I have to run it without a bash bar. It's a little flashy, but hey, why the hell not? It's drifting, isn't it? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull off this piece here and try to make it look a little better. So I never painted it at all. See, that's what I probably should have painted purple, but I'm going to end up probably painting that satin black or something, just kind of hide it. It's really ugly. Maybe someday I'll make like a nice bar with some dimple dyes or something. But, you know, all it's doing is holding the radiator. That's it. So there we are, all installed. The paint came out super uneven because the can was running out, but, you know, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be shown most of the time. So I think it's dry enough now. I can stick the bumper on. I painted that little core support thing, with that paint's taking forever to dry for some reason. What else? I've just been cleaning out the car. I think I got it pretty good. Just get all the crap out of the back. So what I'm probably gonna do is prep a little tool bag so I can keep it in the car, just because I haven't really driven this car that much since it's been down for a while actually. So I'm gonna get it ready to go, cleaned up a bit. I think something's wrong with this headlight motor. I'm not sure what's going on. It's like something with the limit switch. So I don't think it's something I did. At least I don't think so. So I really can't tell. Man, that bash bar is sick. I still have to figure out where I'm going to put the toe point. I was going to put it on that bar, but now the bar is really high. I don't know if I want to do that. I might just put it on the bottom. I guess we'll see. I can always add it, but Okay, I'm gonna throw the bumper on. So I just notched this piece of pipe that was like the perfect size for a place to put the toe strap. And I found this bolt that I had lying around, probably an old crank bolt or something, but it fits perfectly in this tube. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld this in there, and then all I have to do is put a nut on this for the toe strap. Super clean. So I'm gonna clean these up. I'm gonna find a nut for this first. But what this is gonna do, so see, let's have a little chamfer here. This will fit just like that. And it'll go kind of backwards a bit. And then the toe strap will fit right up there. And that way I can kind of tuck it up on top of the intercooler when I'm not using it, so it's not super visible, because I really don't like the look of visible toe straps, especially when they don't match the car. Welding thick metal is so satisfying. I think that's honestly like the best weld right there that I've done so far with flux core. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, some of it I kind of missed a bit, but I mean, that'll hold. Also, I'm not feeling the purple or the way that it kind of stuck. It was some kind of old paint and it just didn't go on well. So I'm gonna probably just brush it all off and probably paint it with like a higher, more durable satin black or something. It's on here, and as you can see, that's gonna be really nice. So I'm going to make these welds really strong because that moment arm is going to be taking a lot of load. But I think if I jack the heat up, I can really get some good penetration on those. Oh my God, who this? You manhandle that coil over. Woo! It's like a seal. For the drift event tomorrow, I painted the bash bar black this time. It looks a lot better. I got the tow hook mounted. I also went ahead and set the turn stops on the control arms so that the tires don't hit the car. I ended up painting the underside of the hood matte, like a satin black color. What else did I do? I mounted a tow hook in the rear. I mounted a fire extinguisher with rib nuts to the floor. So I have a few new parts. I have a new steering column that I'm going to try to put in because there's so much play in the wheel. You can see, I don't know if I've talked about this before in a video, but I'm moving the wheel and you can see the column is not moving. There, now it's moving, but that right there is all play in the column. So that and the brake booster feels really bad, so I have a new one of those. So I'm gonna see what I can get done today. I have 3 hours. We'll see what happens.